Marc Antony was born in 83 BC into a noble Roman family. His full name was Marcus Antonius, and his family had status, connections, and old Roman prestige. But Antony's early life was messy. His father died when Antony was young. His mother later married Publius Cornelius Lentulus Sura, a man involved in the Catiline conspiracy, a plot to overthrow the Roman government. That plot failed, and Lentulus was executed. So Antony grew up surrounded by political chaos, disgrace, and violence. And Antony himself was not exactly a model Roman citizen. As a young man, he became known for partying, drinking, gambling, and getting into debt. He was charismatic, reckless, and wild. Basically, he had the energy of someone who could either become a total failure or a legend. In Rome, that kind of personality could destroy you, but in the military, it could make you powerful. So Antony left Rome and built his reputation the Roman way, through war. Marc Antony began making his name as a soldier in the eastern Mediterranean. He served under the Roman general Aulus Gabinius and fought in campaigns in places like Judea and Egypt. This is where Antony started proving he was more than just a reckless nobleman. He was brave, he was aggressive, he could inspire soldiers, and he was good in battle. That mattered in Rome, because by this point, the Roman Republic was falling apart. Power was no longer just in the hands of senators giving speeches. Real power belonged to generals, men with armies, men with loyal troops, men who could march on cities and decide the future with violence. And the biggest name of all was Julius Caesar. Caesar was building a massive reputation through conquest. He had money, fame, soldiers, and enemies. The Roman Senate feared him. Pompey the Great, Caesar's rival, feared him. And Antony eventually became one of Caesar's loyal supporters. That decision would change Antony's life forever.
In 49 BC, Julius Caesar made one of the most famous decisions in history. He crossed the Rubicon River with his army. That was illegal. Roman generals were not supposed to bring armies into Italy. By crossing that line, Caesar was basically declaring war on his own government. And Marc Antony was on Caesar's side. This was the moment Rome changed forever. Caesar was no longer just a general. He was a rebel, a conqueror, and a direct threat to the Roman Republic. During Caesar's civil war against Pompey, Antony became one of Caesar's most trusted men. He helped command troops, he defended Caesar's interests, he held political office, and he stayed loyal while Rome tore itself apart. But Antony was not Caesar. Caesar was brilliant, calculated, and controlled. Antony was bold, emotional, and sometimes careless. When Caesar was away, Antony's leadership in Rome could be chaotic. He was accused of corruption, violence, and acting like he was above the law. But Caesar still valued him, because Antony had something Caesar needed: loyalty. And in late Republican Rome, loyalty was rare.
On March 15, 44 BC, Julius Caesar was assassinated. A group of senators stabbed him to death, believing they were saving the Republic from a tyrant. Marc Antony was supposed to be there too, but the conspirators knew Antony was dangerous. They knew if he was beside Caesar, he might fight back. So they arranged for Antony to be delayed outside. Caesar was killed without him. At first, Antony fled. And honestly, that was the smart move. Rome was about to explode, and Antony knew he could be the next target. But Antony was not finished. The assassins thought killing Caesar would restore the Republic. Instead, they created a power vacuum, and Antony stepped into it. At Caesar's funeral, Antony gave one of the most explosive political speeches in Roman history. He showed the crowd Caesar's blood-stained clothing. He reminded them of Caesar's generosity. He turned public anger against the assassins. The people of Rome erupted. The assassins had killed Caesar to save the Republic. But Antony made Caesar a martyr. After Julius Caesar was assassinated, Marc Antony looked like the natural heir. Older, battle-tested, politically connected, and one of Caesar's closest allies. But Caesar's will changed everything. The heir was not Antony. It was Caesar's teenage great-nephew, Gaius Octavius, the future Augustus. Antony saw a weak boy and missed the danger. Octavian lacked experience, but had patience, discipline, and a ruthless political mind. Antony commanded attention. Octavian built loyalty. Antony acted on emotion. Octavian waited,
calculated, and struck when it mattered. Their rivalry began almost immediately, but Rome was unstable, and Caesar's assassins still threatened them. So Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus formed the Second Triumvirate, a legal three-man dictatorship meant to restore order, but used for revenge, power, and survival.
After Caesar's death, Rome did not return to peace. The Second Triumvirate, led by Marc Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus, launched proscriptions, official lists of enemies of the state. If your name appeared, you could be killed, and your property seized. It was revenge, politics, and fundraising in one brutal act. One of the most famous victims was Cicero, Rome's great speaker and writer. He had attacked Antony in public speeches, calling him dangerous and corrupt. Antony remembered. When Cicero was killed, his head and hands were displayed in Rome. The message was clear. This was not polite debate. This was survival. Then Antony and Octavian marched east to face Caesar's assassins, Brutus and Cassius, at Philippi in 42 BC. Antony played a major role in the victory. Brutus and Cassius were defeated, and both died by suicide. Caesar had been avenged. But victory created a new danger. The winners had to divide the Roman world. Octavian took the west, Antony took the east, and they were never going to share power peacefully. In the east, Antony summoned Cleopatra VII, Queen of Egypt. She was intelligent, wealthy, politically skilled, and already tied to Julius Caesar. She had a son, Caesarion, whom she claimed was Caesar's child. Ancient writers describe her arrival as theater, luxury, music, perfume, a goddess on the water. True or exaggerated, the message was unmistakable. Cleopatra knew how to command attention. Antony was captivated. But this was not just romance. Egypt had wealth. Antony needed resources for eastern campaigns. Cleopatra needed Roman protection for her throne and dynasty. Their alliance was political, strategic, and personal all at once.
As Antony spent more time in the east, Octavian began building a powerful story against him. To many Romans, Antony no longer looked like a true Roman leader. He looked like a man seduced by Egypt. Rome already feared Eastern luxury. Egypt seemed wealthy, exotic, and corrupting. Octavian used that fear perfectly. He painted Antony as weak, controlled, and un-Roman. And Antony gave him material. His biggest mistake was the donations of Alexandria. In 34 BC, Antony held a grand ceremony in Egypt, giving territories and royal titles to Cleopatra and her children. To Antony, this may have been a way to organize power in the East. But to Romans, it looked like he was handing Roman lands to an Egyptian queen. Octavian knew exactly what to do. He did not declare war on Antony. He declared war on Cleopatra. That made the conflict look like Rome defending itself from a foreign queen, not another Roman civil war. And Antony was walking into disaster. The final showdown came in 31 BC at the Battle of Actium. Antony and Cleopatra's forces faced Octavian's navy, commanded by Agrippa. Actium ruined Antony. His forces were outmaneuvered, his support collapsed, and Cleopatra's fleet withdrew. Antony followed her. That moment destroyed his reputation. To his enemies, it looked like he abandoned his men for Cleopatra. After Actium, Antony's cause was finished. Octavian invaded Egypt the next year. Antony's allies deserted him, his soldiers surrendered, and he was trapped in Alexandria. Then Antony heard false news that Cleopatra had died, so he fell on his sword. But Cleopatra was still alive. According to tradition, Antony was brought to her while dying and died in her arms. Soon after, Cleopatra also died by suicide. With them dead, Octavian took Egypt. The Roman Republic was gone, and Octavian became Augustus, the first emperor of Rome.
Marc Antony's life is usually remembered as a tragedy, and it is. He had power, fame, military talent, and the loyalty of soldiers. He helped avenge Julius Caesar. He helped reshape the Roman world. But he also had huge flaws. He was impulsive, he was indulgent, he made bad political choices, and worst of all, he underestimated Octavian. That mistake destroyed him. Antony was a man built for the old Roman world, a world of battlefield glory, personal loyalty, and raw charisma. Octavian was built for the new one, a colder world,
A world of propaganda, patience, image control, and absolute power hidden behind a Republican mask. So Marc Antony was not just Cleopatra's lover. He was one of the last great warlords of the Roman Republic, a man who stood inches from ultimate power and lost everything. That is the story of Marc Antony, the soldier, the survivor, the lover, and the loser of Rome's final civil war. If you liked the video and want to see more, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.